All right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to the App Solution webinar. My name is Adam Savard. I am part of the marketing team here at Specific Solutions, joined here by Brandon Long, head of our operations. Brandon, if you wanted to introduce yourself, give a quick overview of what we'll be covering today.
Morning, everybody. Brandon Long, the operations manager here. We're just going to do a quick overview of the app solutions, and we're specifically going to be targeting issues that the agent may run into as well as the client. These topics will probably significantly will be able to help you with a smoother process. Adam will be running most of the webinar. I will be answering some questions. I have a 2-week-old baby daughter who is next to me, who is sleeping. So Adam is going to be running most of this. So I will be available at the end for questions. So with that, Adam, if you want to get started.
Absolutely. So to access our App Solution program, at the very top, you'll see some of the orange drop-down buttons. We'll go to Expedite, and then we will go to App Solution. Okay. From there, quick overview of the page, the Quick Start Guide. Take a look at it. I mean, this is going to give you kind of the written feel for what soup to nuts, what the experience is going to be. It's a great place to get started if you're unfamiliar with App Solution. See some testimonials as well as some videos we have up, as well as an advisor training document. The next section does change from time to time. I think the last time it updated was a few months ago. These are the restrictions. So if we are unable to take a carrier or a particular policy type through App Solution, this is where you're going to find it. You're going to find it under the unable. You'll see it's a very short list. There are several instances where, even though we do take through App Solution, we will send you an email for a wet signature instead of going through DocuSign. Those are also updated there right in the middle of the page. So visit this page often. This does come up on the form. So just make sure you take a look at this so that we know what type of experience that you're being prepared for.
One of the biggest errors we see is banner.
Yep.
So banner is William Penn outside New York. So anything outside New York that you're writing, quote unquote, William Penn, which is banner, which is the legal general company, they do not allow for full applications anymore. So it has to go through their app assist process. So it's the same process they have. It's a 2-page form. They call and they fill out the application over the phone with your client. We just have to use their service.
Thank you, Brandon. So from there, we come down to get started with App Solution. So you see on the left side of your screen, these are the available dates and times. Again, we've got several mornings, several evenings, nothing on Sunday, but we do have Saturdays available for the convenience of you and your clients. First thing you should do, it's a 2-step process. The first thing you should do is schedule the appointment. There are several advisors that could be looking at this at a given time. And if you confirm an appointment with your client and you go to the interview form first, there's a chance that the time you've confirmed with your client gets taken by somebody else. So come here, schedule the interview first. It's 1 hour. When you click on the date, you will see the available dates, the available times come up. Select the time.
Then just a quick note, anybody who's not on the Eastern time, you can actually change it and it will change it for you to see your times.
Thank you, Brandon. So from here, brief form, client name, client first name, last name, client phone number, client email. Okay, client's going to get a text message if this is a cell phone to confirm the appointment. They're also going to receive an email to confirm the appointment. At the bottom, this is where we connect you to the client. You put your name in on the bottom, click complete appointment, and this comes directly to us. That you're done. The appointment is scheduled. Client gets a confirmation. We get a confirmation that the appointment has been scheduled. So once you reach this screen, we go back to our site, the App Solution page.
There's actually, this will be what the client will see. They will get a confirmation, and then they also will, next steps, which Adam's about to talk over. So they do get another hit saying about the HIPAA form that needs to be signed. So they do get reminders. They get 24-hour reminders, as well as within, I believe it's 48 hours, they can actually reschedule it themselves without calling you. So if there is an issue, they can actually change the appointment without contacting you, contacting us. After 48 hours, it does get locked and they would have to call you.
Yep. Thank you. So now we come back here, we complete the online interview form. This is the second page, and this is where we're going to get into some pretty significant detail here to help improve the experience for both you, the advisor, and the client. So at the very top, I have reviewed which carriers and products are available for Absolution. We touched on that at the beginning. That was right above where you're filling out the form and scheduling the appointment. That should be a yes. The insurance company name. This is the carrier that you have recommended. This is Prudential, this is William Penn, this is John Hancock, whoever the carrier is. This is not your agency name. This is not Specific Solutions. This is the carrier for which we are doing business. Product type checkbox, life, long-term, or disability insurance. The state of application, please make sure this is right. We do see occasionally, the state come in a little bit weird depending on clients who have multiple residences. We want to confirm that ahead of time. Product type, checkbox. The product name, and you'll notice term duration if term, okay? Put in the number of years that the term is. And we'll try to confirm that if it's not there. But it's a whole lot easier to just put in if we're doing 15-year, 20-year term. If it's the US life and you've got the odd numbers, 23-year term, that should be there. The death benefit, face amount of the contract. Okay. The planned premium and the premium mode. This is a frequent disconnect with the forms that we see in. If you want the client to pay annually, put in the annual premium. If you want the client to pay monthly, put in the monthly premium. It does not quite match up because we're always running an illustration in the background to make sure that we're matching the quote that you have put into the form. If you put in the annual premium, $3,000, and then you put monthly, we're not sure if we've matched up, with the riders and the different things on these policies. We want to make sure the plan premium and the premium mode are related. Is this replacing existing coverage? Yes, no. Save age. We do see a lot of items that come in save age where we're not actually saving age. Remember, if you're saving age, the client is going to owe those back premiums to save the younger age. If you're unsure, give us a call ahead of time. We'll always go through it if it's an age nearest or age actual company to see if there's an opportunity to save age. Bind coverage if they're submitting premium with the application, yes, no. Business insurance, yes, no. That's your key man, your buy sells, anything business owned, business beneficiary. 1035 exchange, yes, no. Who's the policy owner? We are seeing an increase here for policy owner and the beneficiaries of misspelled names. Please make sure that we're spelling the client's name right, middle initial if they're going to use it in those fields.
It is super important because we pre-fill the app as much as possible. So even if there is a spelling error, obviously it won't take up your client's time, but it is going to cause a delay on us getting the app to you because we finalize the application right after we make the phone call. And if there's an error, we will have to go back to the original document. So it's super, super important that these are accurate. Definitely helps the turnaround time.
Thank you. So for the next two, for New York cases specifically, do you want us to complete the 187 forms? And have you completed your training? We're going to check the training in the background, but just a reminder there that you do need to have that training done largely ahead of time. If the training and the appointment is not done by the time the interview comes, we are going to hold that application and not send it out until you are in good order. So that will hold up the process.
And that's a very important fact because sometimes there are pre-appointment states and stuff like that. So actually we will check, obviously, when it's a non-New York, if it's a pre-appointment state. And the good thing about Absolution is we can actually go ahead with the application if it's a pre-appoint state. So if you're trying to close this deal, they want to be called next week, but pre-appointment's going to take 2 weeks. We can actually take the application and get it all finalized. And then what we do is we actually just hold it waiting for your appointment approval. So make note of that. If you're in pre-appointment state, feel free to put stuff through. If you know it's going to be pre-appoint, we'll just hold the application. And then once your appointment goes through, we'll send it for signatures. On a side note for the 187 training, if you just did your training because you just sold this product, send it over to us, agency@specificsolutions.com, or any marketing person. That way it can get into our system right away. So rather than have Kelly reach out to you waiting for it, just shoot it in right to us so we can get it in your file. Just definitely speeds up the process with everything.
Thank you, Brandon. Again, client name, again, caution here on spelling. Client date of birth, we have seen the occasional date of birth incorrect. That's got to be accurate. The phone number, this is major. I've seen an increase in the number of forms that come in where the phone number is disconnected. Make sure we're getting the best client phone number, whether that's a landline, that's a cell phone, whatever it is. That's the number at which we're going to contact the client for the appointment. Okay. Email, again, major. Brandon has already touched on this. We are going to email the client. Once we have this HIPAA form and the appointment scheduled, we're going to email the client the HIPAA to complete. The email address has to be correct. Otherwise, the client's not going to get the HIPAA. It's going to bounce right back to us.
And a note on that, you don't necessarily need to get a wet signature HIPAA. We automatically send it out. So I do see a lot of agents getting it, feeling they need to get it. You do not need to get it. Obviously, if it's a client who doesn't have an email address or you're already meeting with them face to face, of course, you can do it that way. Just know that within 24 hours, we send out a DocuSign HIPAA. And please note, if it's for a, let's say it's for an older person, they don't have an email, and then you put the daughter's email, just know that sometimes if that daughter frequently uses DocuSign, it may sign the form as the daughter's name. So we always please make sure that it's the actual client's email address. It doesn't happen frequently, but it does happen enough that I'm going to mention it.
Thanks, Brandon. The rate class applying for, please make sure that that matches the quote. Again, that should connect with the premium and the premium mode. Last, nicotine use and nicotine type. A lot has changed here over the last few years, particularly with the introduction of marijuana. This is important to ask your client about nicotine. This includes cigars, cigarettes, vape, marijuana, gum, all forms of nicotine. All right, because there are some carriers from a field underwriting perspective that will do better depending on what the client is using. So we want to talk about that upfront from a design perspective. So if you know your client has some tobacco history, has some nicotine history, let's figure out exactly what it is, and we can make that a better experience up front with the right quotes. All right, client address, again, make sure it's right. If it's a two-family or multi-unit, make sure it's upper, make sure we have the unit number, city, state, and zip code, gender, self-explanatory. The last 4 digits of the social security number, and Brandon has already mentioned this a couple of times, this is going to be the passcode your client uses in DocuSign. They will use this for the HIPAA. They will use this to sign the application. You cannot put in 4 zeros. You cannot put in 4 ones. You cannot put in some random number. It has to be the last 4 digits of the client social. And when we send out DocuSign, in the body of the DocuSign, we do have a reminder that that is what the password is. So please, please, please make sure that that is accurate.
This will be one of the pain points that we see often. Make sure you have all the info before you start filling out the form. This form will not be processed if the last 4 is not included. We do that because the whole system basically runs on this last 4 of the social security number. And obviously you'll get emails from us stating that we need it. But if it comes in 000 or 1234, we obviously know that's not the last 4 of the social security number. Maybe I'm sure there's somebody with 1234 as the last 4. But we will send out that this is unable to be processed. Please get this to us ASAP.
So for the next couple questions, it's best estimate here for income and net worth. That's going to help tee up some of the 187 and the financial questions. We will still confirm those numbers on the interview. The occupation and the employer, we don't need full addresses. We can get that on the interview, just the employer name, the employer, the occupation. Big one at the bottom here, this is a free form. This is where you can get us any additional information that would be pertinent and important for us to know about the case. This could be health issues. The one that Brandon just put in there, we see pretty frequently with replacements. Very often on replacements, clients are not prepared with the policy number, the issue date, the type of policy, the face amount, who the beneficiary is. That we definitely need all of that information. If you put it into here and the interview form, we can just confirm that on the interview and we're done. It takes a lot of time off the interview. Much better experience for you, much better experience for the clients. Otherwise, those become required fields in DocuSign. So if you have the replacement information, please include it. Medications, more and more carriers are now going to requiring an upfront plan, Part B. So if we have the medications, that's going to be the name, the dosage and frequency, then that's going to make for a much smoother experience as well. Anything that you think we need to know, approximate 1035 information I've seen in here, waiver of premium, riders, child rider, term riders, chronic or critical illness riders. Those are going to be very, very important to put in here as well. Helps us match, make sure that we're selling the right product that you've already recommended.
And the more information, the better. You know, you might already have this stuff in your system, or you might have already done the quote where you already have the medication. Put it in there. It might take you 2 or 3 minutes to do, but we can shave off probably 10 minutes on the interview. So when we have a fully prepared client with all this information beforehand, we've seen interviews less than 5 minutes. So it's super, super, if you can get the information's handy, please provide it, because it's just going to make a better situation for your client.
Yep. A note on business cases. We do need to know how the business is organized. We would need some of the business financials. Same thing with DI. If you're doing disability insurance through Absolution, which we do, remind your clients, and we will reinforce it well. We will need the last year tax returns with all schedules for income verification. At the bottom, click "We're not a robot." You agree to the HIPAA statement. This is the agent signature. Client doesn't need to sign this. When you hit submit at the very bottom, you will see "Thank you for submitting." There it is. So once you see that, you're done. We do get duplicate forms in from time to time. That is the message that you receive when we've gotten the form. Now, if you have multiple policies for the same client, we would need one form for each policy. So if I did a small whole life and a term, we would want an interview form with the background of each unique policy. Same if you do term or DI, any combination where we're doing more than one policy, one form for each unique policy type, please.
If you have a husband and wife, we like if you put the interviews, 2 interview slots for 2 people. If you see that you can't get that, or they want to be called at the same time or something like that, please reach out to us. We will accommodate anything we can accommodate. So if you have 2, please don't just submit the forms and hope we call. We will call you and say, hey, we can't get these done in this amount of time. But most of the time we can't accommodate. So just call a marketing rep, shoot me an email, just say, hey, this is a situation. We just did one where I believe it was 5 kids, all of them whole life, all of them needed Part B filled out. So we were able to accommodate, move some appointments around to be able to call those people all at the same time. Obviously, we want to make it easy for your client, but on those situations, just go ahead and give us a call real quick, and then we can figure out a solution for you.
Absolutely. Okay, so once you submit the form, you're done. You've now scheduled the appointment. You've now done the interview form. We are now going to process that and send out the HIPAA for your client. This is the email the client's going to get when we send the HIPAA. This is the exact subject line. This is the client experience. So what they will do is they'll go in, again, you see the reminder for the last 4 digits of the social security numbers in the subject line. So what we'll do as the client, you will click review documents. And we have made a recent change here, and we'll get to that in just a few moments. There's your access code. That's the last 4.
Now, if you're new to this, you will have to click agree. So this may or may not pop up. If it's your first time, you will. If not, you won't have to.
Yep. Client will complete their date of birth. Scroll down. They will sign the form. Okay. On the second page, we talked a lot about the client being prepared for the interview. We did add this spot for the client to initial that they have seen this page. This page is what the client will need to have with them to complete a successful interview. Again, as Brandon's outlined, if the client has this page and they come and they're ready to go, 5 minutes is not out of the question. Even if we have to take a part B, 15 minutes is not out of the question, okay? So make sure your client is seeing that, you're calling attention to it, the client has all of that information prepared. Once they sign, they get the finish. HIPAA automatically comes to us. We will record that in the file. We're now ready to take the interview. There's the email.
We got it completely and it's back. And then what we do is put that in the file and then we're ready to go on that.
Yep.
And then after that, what happens is it will be processed we try within 48 hours to send out the application. If it can go out DocuSign, it does go out DocuSign. Newer to the platform, if it can go out IGO, it will go out IGO. If it is an IGO, you will get instructions from us on how to do an IGO. Most of them are ran on DocuSign, so it's identical to our process. If it can't be DocuSigned, or if you've requested in the notes that you want it wet signed, which you can do, you will get a cover letter, an email with a cover letter, as well as the application of what was missing, and then you can print it out, sign it, wet sign it, and send it back to us. If it is a DocuSign, you will get it first. What we do, a lot of agents will text their clients or call their clients, set up a 5-minute call, and then you'll sign it, and then they'll sign it. And then what happens with that is it allows it to be signed the same day. We need them signed the same day. Reason being is the carriers don't want to see an agent signing something before the client sees it. So that's super important that we need that. So what happens is on that is they will get an email that looks like this, very similar to what you just saw. About the application, you can see the access code is right there to remind them. It's also right here, and then it is also right there. We do get a lot of clients stating they never saw that. It is there 3 times. So what they'll do, this is the same situation that you would do. So let's say it's you first, you put in your last 4 of your social security number, and the access code may be different. So if it is a business-owned case and the president is signing it for a key employee, it will be the last 4 of the business ID or the TIN, but that will be noted in the email. It does change. So what we did here is, rather than fill out an application for you to see, we're going to do the most common things that you will see on this. So what you will see is the first one is, oh, we got a question. Can the agent sign a day or more after the client signs? Yes and no. Yes, you can. Very few carriers allow it. So what we recommend is the client and the agent signing the same day. So what you can do is you can go into it, review it, and then just wait for your client to say they can sign that day, and then go ahead and sign it that day that they can, and then they can sign it after that. We've gotten them through, but we do not recommend it. Sorry about that. I just want to answer that question real quick. So on these, you'll see the first one is the mandatory. You'll see the red bracket. So what this is a mandatory field that you or your client has to fill out. There is no option. You have to fill it out. So all you will do, it might say that current occupation, they forgot what they do for a living, or as Adam said, they forgot what the face amount is of their policy that they're replacing. You'll just fill it in like that. The next one is the pick between 2. These are called radio buttons. These may be required, they may not be. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be required, and the required you can tell is in red. So you can just pick one, satisfies that. The next one are select all. So what these are check boxes. These are not mandatory, but you would have to select more than 2. So you'll see this commonly on the agent report, where it might say, what do they invest in? And then you'll see a bunch of, CD, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, and you'll pick all that apply. So you can pick one, you can pick none, you can pick all of them. Those are the text boxes. The optional field is the same text field, but it's not optional. So it may be a question that says, if you answered yes on the above, please fill this out. And then you can fill it out saying, yes, this answer is. On the title, you can see mine is saved, but this would be on a business owned. Let's say the president is signing it. It'll just say title, and then the client will sign it as president, if he's the president or if he's a customer service rep. Initials, self-explanatory. You click it for the initials. Signature is the same thing on that. So these are the only ones that you will see come from us. These are all the questions that you would need to, types of questions you would have to answer. But like we said, the better the client is prepared, the less chance that there'll be any of these. 9 times out of 10, there will be 2 or 3 questions the agent is answering. That'll be the agent report questions. So you'll probably have to answer 5 questions on how you made the sale. Then it will go to your client. If your client was fully prepared, there'll be just signatures for them. Once you click finish, it will run through and sign it. It'll ask you if you want to save a document or if you want to create an account. And then you're finished. What happens now is whoever signed it or was CC'd will get a copy. So we'll get a copy, the interview will, so we can put it into our new business processing. The client will get a copy so they can print it and put it in their file, and then the agent will get a copy and then be able to put it in their file.
Yeah, just a brief word on the optional sections, and we see it more when we have to go back to clients if after an exam or after an interview we need to go out and get additional information. When we send out a DocuSign, make sure the clients are looking for those non-required fields, because sometimes they are contingent. A client might say no and the optional fields can be skipped, but we don't know if it's a yes, no. The alcohol or drug questionnaire is a great example for this. Not all the answers on there are going to be yes. If a client answers yes, the boxes underneath, they're listed as optional, but they then become required. We have to fill those in and get those answered. So please pay attention, for some of those optional fields, because they can be contingent on other answers. One more thing on the interview itself. Location is important. We've had a number of interviews where the client has been in a moving car or they've been in public. A lot of background noise or difficult to respond to questions that are obviously private in nature. Make sure the client is prepared in the location where they can clearly hear, they are free of as many distractions as possible, and are prepared to complete the interview. Again, that just helps this be a better experience for them, a better experience for you as the advisor, and reduces the amount of time that we're on the phone.
That being said, that is the process for the absolution. We have a few minutes for questions. So if you want to type your questions in or put it in the chat, we can answer them now. The best thing is we have absolution, but also remember we do have IGO e-apps on our website as well. So if you're a tech person that would rather fill out an electronic form yourself, you can explore that under our website. We have an IGO button. You can see all the products. Obviously, if you're in New York, it's limited, but if you're outside New York, almost every product has an e-app. So if you wanted the tech stuff and you want to do it yourself, of course, you're more than welcome to. And feel free to explore that, or if you have any questions on that, you can feel free to give me a call and I can get a little bit more in detail with you on that. So I guess we will wait another minute to see if there's any other questions.
I did have one more thing just in terms of preparation for the interview. We have seen a number of cases where parents are owning policies on children that are over the age of 18. In a case like that, we do need the HIPAA from the minor. And in those cases, we would need both the parent as the owner of the policy and the child who's over 18 available on the phone to take the interview, because we need to take the medical questions from the child.
Just wait till 11, and it is 11. So of course, I'd like to say I appreciate all the business you guys are giving us. If there's any questions we didn't answer or it was a little confusing, my extension is 227. Adam, I think, is 237. Feel free to give us a call. We'll go over anything you would like. But if there's nothing else, we just want to thank you for the business and let us know if there's any questions.
Thanks very much. Take care.
Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.